Hi. So, a couple of months back, I was working on this cloud storage solution for storing your pictures and videos, but didn't really find the time to record the video. So, that is why I'm doing it now. So, the idea was basically I was on vacation and I ended up taking a lot of photos in my phone. Um, so, my phone's memory got full. So, the obvious next step is to probably subscribe to a cloud storage solution such as iCloud, Google Cloud, etc. But that got me thinking. Okay, what is the cost breakdown of each? Is it possible to build this? And therefore, that brought life to this project here. It's nothing as robust as the predominant solution, but it's worth to take a look at because I ended up learning a lot, like how to compress files. I used a lot of different AWS tools such as Simple Email Services, DynamoDB, S3 Bucket. This is actually the core or crux of how this application is built. Then some Lambda functions, etc. So that's why I thought I'll share this to you. You could probably read the readme.file. We'll get into that. But let me first quickly show you the demo. So in here we have three different fields here which we can attach. Number one being files, where you attach your images or videos in this particular field. Then you have storage class, which Amazon provides to us, called storage class, where it gives you certain options. So in here we have deep archive, express one zone, standard, etc. So the idea is the deeper you archive it, meaning the deeper you archive it, it takes more time to retrieve it. But if you want something which is highly available, you store it in some uh, an option called standard, where you just make a request and it throws you back the URL or the image, etc. But when you do it, when you set the option as deep archive, it archives it, and for you to access that image it takes some time, but it becomes a lot more cheaper. If we go to deep archive here, so the difference between a standard and a deep archive is standard is $2.30 and this is just 0.099 cents. So yeah, huge difference. So yeah, that storage class. And email is the email of whom you want to send this image to. Later we'll be using Lambda functions to send to let the user know when the files are ready. So that's why there's this property called email. So once, if I hit send here, there's certain, you can see there are certain things going on in the background, the backend right here. So you can see it just compresses all the files, tries to zip it, and then uploads it to S3 and the DynamoDB. So if I go right here, if I go to S3 bucket, these are my buckets. This is one of the buckets, the folder, and you can see Glacier Deep Archive. We've archived this particular file, and then you can just access it. And I've also stored the meta data in this files table. So if I refresh this, you should have one more property as a deep archive. I believe this is the one. Yeah, 5th May. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, so it archives, it basically compresses all the files, then uploads it to S3 and then to DynamoDB. So now let's say once it's archived, a couple of months, years later, you want to retrieve it. Then what you do is there's this endpoint called get archived files with the email. Email being, again, since the files are split into folders, so within this bucket we have we would have different emails, and we go to that email, extract all the files out, and throw you the response. So now if I hit this, you can see one is being restored. This is in deep archive. This was in standard, which is available. So if I click this, yeah, we have this particular image which I did upload some time back. Yeah, but these are in restore in progress, and it would take some time, probably around 24 to 48 hours for you to get those files back. So what I did was, I within this S3 bucket, if you go to properties and scroll all the way down to event notification, based on certain events which occur, S3 throws out a notification. So what I did was, I have this Lambda function, I connected it to S3. So whenever there's this particular event which occurs, which is object restore, restoration complete, you can see right here, object restore : complete. Whenever that occurs, what happens is this Lambda function fires. So here it gets that particular event, then it extracts out the email, and within the email it does this very simple check. And then what we do is, using SES, Amazon Simple Email Services, we send the email to the user, and the user comes to know that, okay, the files is available, and he can make the request again, and he will get the files back. So the email would look something like this. So reply, you could always change the subject and the body. So S3 file restoration complete, your file restoration is complete. And then the idea was, okay, it's ready, so I'll make the request again, and then you basically, there's this status called available, and you get the signed URL back, and you can access the image. So this is the general gist of how this application works. Then a couple of things right here is on GitHub. So in GitHub, I try to be as descriptive as possible. So if you scroll down, you get all the steps on how to do this, like create dynamic DB table, create bucket, how to configure SES, Lambda functions, the snippet which you could use here. And yeah, so I've tried to be as elaborate as possible. In case there's something happens, you can just leave it in the comment section below, and if a lot of y'all are facing the same issue, I could probably always make a video on it. And in case you don't want the complete code right from the get-go, which is on main, you could also follow along step by step. I've broken down each of the steps. So 1, initial setup; 2, you do the DynamoDB configurations, then S3 configuration, all the way up to the final one, which is 10, just a bit of front end refactor. There's not much of a front end in this project, but you could always do so. But that's about it. Hopefully this is useful to all of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.